It's Harmony Gold. They found this out.
Yep.
We were talking shit about them.
They were listening. They heard us.
Yeah, of course, Harmony Gold. I think the problem is this: like the minute we.
Oh, and just as I say that, now YouTube decides to fucking cooperate.
Oh, beautiful.
And we were on such a roll, but the bottom line, Shades, I think we need to play the Shameville for Tatsunoko Productions.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely! After this bullshit.
Yep.
Shame.
Oh, definitely.
Now,
sorry about that, folks. I think Harmony Gold got pissed off when we mentioned the fucking patent office.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I guarantee that once MechWarrior 5 comes out, which is looking to come out early next year, they're probably going to come out of the woodwork. So, and for those who are watching, we are back on both YouTube and Twitch. I have no idea why OBS decided to derp on me. I would have thought I had that planned in advance. I'm just going to blame Harmony Gold trying to shut me down. Except you can't stop my signal.
Exactly.
Even if you shoot me down, I'll find some other place with blackjack and hookers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said,
the bottom line is Harmony Gold and Tatsunoko. Seriously, guys, just give it the fuck up already.
Yeah, really. Like I said, I think it's like I said. Eventually, someone's gonna go to the fucking patent office and complain.
Mm-hmm. It hasn't happened already.
When it comes to that movie, that live action movie that you're trying to get made, all I'm gonna say is good luck. You'll need it. And speaking of luck, we have a bit of an update to the Artifact drama.
Oh shit!
Aaron, you want to hit that GTA button again?
Yeah,
never mind.
Already did.
Read my mind.
So, Artifact is dead. Artifact is deader than dead. We all know this.
Yeah, it's deader
than a doornail. Then it's what it's gonna get. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a stiff, bereft of life. It rests in peace.
Yep.
But that didn't stop people from playing it with some very spicy footage on Twitch. Namely, you had Artifact streams watching other shows that are most certainly copyrighted, or in some cases showing full on porn.
Yeah. Oh wow!
And Twitch decided,
ladies and gentlemen, we have reached peak not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
And Twitch had decided to go on a full subpoena / lawsuit frenzy on the matter and put out a suit that had 100 John Does.
Oh my god! They found one. Yeah, one down, 99 to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we get something that I thought was just ridiculously tone deaf from a developer who I once looked up to. So Richard Garfield outright thinks that the game still has underlying value and that it could come back. No. This does not call for doubt. This calls for Bender.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Give me a minute.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
Here's what he said, quote, "Personally, I'm interested in designing new games or expanding old games. I don't want to be involved in damage control and figuring out how to find an audience for this game. I think the underlying game is excellent and original.
Drink.
It gives the player something new. So in that sense, since there's something to offer the player, I think it's possible to save it. Since Valve is a smart company with lots of smart people working.
I keep going.
I think that it's possible they could do that.
Take a shot. Take a shot every time Monk laughs during this.
Like
I could be shocked. I'd have been shocked if you actually got through that with a straight face.
Is this guy on drugs?
I played an early version of Artifact. What I saw was a poor man's Hearthstone that was both too complicated and too simple at the same time, and furthermore, he tried as both quartering and tabletop girls have pointed out. You were trying to do the same kind of secondary market shit that you did with physical Magic, and you can't do that in digital sense. You can't do that when you're a fucking startup game.
Yeah.
And the fact that you look at a lot of the other digital card games that you can find on Steam. You know, or BattleNet, your Duelists, your Hearthstones, your Shardbounds, all those kind of games. You know what they all have in common? They're free, barring the whole pack shit. Yeah. Artifact, for whatever reason, decided that it wanted to do a $11 buy-in point.
Really? Yeah, at this point, it's like they're trying to save there is no saving this cash trap. Walk away.
They stopped putting out updates last year. It's dead. I think the whole he's not interested in damage control is him saying, I made the game for them, I got my money, I'm fucking off to something else. I'm getting far more success out of Keyforge, which he also developed.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not an issue. It's not the issue that they tried to do the whole reselling individual cards like you see with Magic's secondary market. That doesn't work digitally.
No.
And yeah, there have been other games that have been dead and then got resurrected. But the only way that this is getting resurrected properly is if you blow it up. You need to pull a Final Fantasy 14 in order to make this thing work.
You do.
Oh, definitely.
And I think the fact that Valve has not said hide nor hair about it is saying this thing is probably going to shut down its servers in a year.
Yeah.
But then we have the thing that made everybody in the fandom menace really pissed off at Disney.
Oh, fuck!
Here we go.
Disney.
Here we go.
Here we fucking go.
Drink for Disney.
So, Disney had shot down a request to have a father use a Spider-Man image on the gravestone of his son Ollie Jones, following his death at the age of 4 from leukodystrophy, which apparently is a genetic disease. His father, Lloyd, wanted to honor his son and his love of Spider-Man by placing an image of the famous character on his gravestone. But when he approached Disney about using the character, his request was shot down. A representative had issued a statement to the Sun stating the following: "We extend our sincere condolences. If we played a small part in Ollie's happiness, we are honored. Generations of fans have responded to our characters with the same wonder and delight that Ollie did. In fact, many believe the characters to be real." Why the fuck would you say that? We have striven to preserve the same innocence and magic around our characters that brought Ollie such joy. For that reason, we follow a policy that began with Walt Disney himself that does not permit the use of characters on headstones, cemetery, or other memorial markers or funeral urns.
Bullshit!
You have been this whole Walt Disney did have that policy, but you have been veering away from that policy for the last few decades. So don't even start with that shit.
Walt.
Yeah, I was gonna say that legit sounds like Walt Disney, but at the same time, it's Marvel, and it's a 4-year-old fucking kid.
Yeah, first off,
fuck you.
Yeah, here's where they fucked up. Okay, first off, Marvel wasn't always a Disney property. It was its own thing, and guess who basically ran the fucking publication? Stan Lee, who if he was still alive and actually had any say in that shit, he would basically say he would grant the wish that he said, "Hey, I'll let you use it. Hell, I'll even come down to the funeral."
I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet is that not only will I approve it, I will pay for the headstone myself.
That's true.
He would do that.
Yeah.
It gets worse. And this was the thing.
Now, number two. Now, here's my second point. Before we go on. Second point. Don't give me that bullshit. It's like this is what Walt Disney would use that for their headstones. Here's the what Walt Disney was also. He hated fucking communists, and you got a lot of those in that company lately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm just gonna put this out of the way. Fire Nero Kennedy. But then there was a follow up from the Independent that made me especially pissed, and I can completely understand why both Jeremy and Odin got pissed off at this. In fact, Odin was outright entertaining a boycott, which he doesn't do that.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
This is sickening.
He said, quote, "Although we cannot grant the family's request, we would be pleased to commemorate your nephew with a hand-inked, hand-painted, personalized celluloid that recognizes his love for Spider-Man, which will read, 'For your blank nephew's name, thank you for letting us share the magic in your life. Your friends at the Walt Disney Company. We feel privileged to have had him as a fan.'"
Bullshit! Ooh, okay.
You know what?
You got the floor.
Because fuck them, that's why.
Yeah. Here's the thing. On the one hand, for something like an actual Disney character, I can kind of understand the point. But as you guys have already mentioned, we're talking Marvel. We're talking heroes.
Yes.
Having the hero that protected a city watch over the grave of a dead son sounds like the perfect, if nothing else, it's the perfect marketing strategy. You've got a PR perfect plate right in front of you, and you're shutting it down because of some policy that was involving a freaking mouse. You fucking morons.
Exactly. Like I said, it's also, and I want to talk about, and I know this is sort of going off on a tangent here, but I want to talk about this. Now, as you already know, Disney, Nike, and a few other companies. You know what? Fuck it. I'll save it for the next one. Fuck it. Because I want to get around to that before I say my piece.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just bullshit. All it is just they just want some money from. I guarantee you, if some high profile celebrity made the same request to fucking Disney, I guarantee you 10 to fucking 1 they would approve it.
Because it'd be a perfect marketing gold mine for them, and that's why they do it. That's exactly my point. But even now,
I think
marketing bullshit.
The thing is, this is one of the rare cases where the nuclear winter handled this with more class.
Yeah, really.
Yes.
Because there was a longtime WoW player who passed away, and he got his own statue commemorating him in the damn game.
Nice.
Nice. And there's been plenty other of those sorts of stories. There was the whole story about Dad of Light story involving Final Fantasy, and there was that whole story some years back with the let's see, well, I can't remember. Ah, jeez, it was at the tip of my tongue, then it just slipped by. But Odin had pointed out that the only reason they wouldn't do it is because they would be secondary on the matter. So
basically what you're saying is the dead can't buy their shit.
Yeah, and
that's
a Maidstone Borough council spokeswoman had some words on the matter, which was a very tepid response. And let me see what the comments. And I do want to point out one comment from Juan Senpai, who said, "Preserve the innocence and magic of the characters." Translating, I do not want my properties associated with dead people. What's more, better not expect anything from these Disney people. They do not love children, they just love money and nothing else. Now here's the thing, the whole not wanting characters associated with death, I'm pretty sure even if I was alive and when Disney was alive, I would still find that to be childish.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Not to mention, again, this goes back to the point with Marvel. How many heroes have died in Marvel Comics before Disney took over? Is this basically Disney saying that Marvel will never be allowed to kill off their characters in their comics ever again? Because it's so good fucking luck with that.
Good luck.
Yeah. How about that latest movie that made all of the money? Oh yeah, Endgame. Who died in that?
Yeah, let's see here. Iron Man, Black Widow.
Half the fucking universe.
Yeah.
Well, that was Infinity War, but whatever, same diff.
Yeah.
But good luck with that, Disney. Good fucking luck with that.
Let me bring up one other elephant in the room, because this is something that people have been giving Disney flack about for decades. I'm pretty sure you're all familiar with their reliance on the fake-out death.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's like, you want to play this whole no death game, motherfucker? Then let's play that game, and you're gonna learn the hard way. Never ever ever play hardball with me.
Nope.
Oh yeah, and if you didn't want to involve yourself with death, then explain Bambi, to the point where that became the running joke.
Yeah.
Like, some people will just say fuck you. I don't need to say fuck you. I don't need to say fuck you. I can just go straight for where it hurts.
Yeah, Bambi.
And you can say, but if you go with, but we're spineless. We have no balls. I don't need that.
Hunters killed her mother.
I don't need to aim for below the belt to make you hurt.
Right.
And that's just the easy way. We can find the hard way.
Yeah.
You know what? I think there's another property you could use that I've been using a lot lately, aside from Bambi, and it comes in 2 words: Old Yeller. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, look, if you want to have that policy, fine. But I expect consistency. If you are inconsistent, I will rake you over the coals, and then pick up whatever's left, flip you over, and rake you over the other coals,
and then cook it to a perfect medium rare with salt, pepper, and garlic. And maybe some butter to make it luxurious and stuff.
Yeah, really.
No. If I'm gonna be making it luxurious, I need a Chianti and some fava beans.
Very true. Very true.
Now,
anyway, guys, I have to get out of here. I'm starting to fall asleep, and my eyes are just not.
That's fine, dude. Go get some rest.
That's right, Zeltrax.
I'm going to sleep.
Night, Zeltrax. I'll see you next time. Speaking of massive failure, it's time to talk about Starbucks getting cucked once again. So that whole Philadelphia incident from last year has been really biting Starbucks in the ass lately. What with
not only that, Hotep Jesus even took advantage of that and freaking trolled them.
You
Remember
had
that
that.
shit?
You've got a squatter problem in Starbucks. In
Yep.
certain Starbucks, you've got cases where the bathrooms had to be shut down because of this kind of abuse. And now we have a case where in a Starbucks in Tempe, Arizona, some police officers were asked to leave a Starbucks coffee shop on the 4th of July because one customer out of maybe 20 or 30 people said that they did not feel safe with them present.
Great.
You know,
You had five
maybe you
regular.
let me. Here's the deal. Maybe you want to know probably why that person didn't feel comfortable. Maybe he's got a fucking warrant. Has you ever thought about that?
Yeah.
Maybe.
But you just had 5 beat cops who were drinking coffee before they were going to start their shift for the day, and then a barista asked them to move out of a customer's line of sight or else leave. And which is I have to wonder how scared of your own shadow do you have to be to look at a few police officers and immediately get that level of, not only that level of uncomfortable, but have to ask a barista to tell them to leave.
Yeah,
Like you,
like I said,
I think this. I don't try and go too far into politics, but this is what happens when you have news constantly about how
drink for current year on the statement.
oh, definitely.
Yeah, drink.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that,
All
but
the
that statement is from the Officers Association, who said, "quote
Yeah, but
this treatment of public safety workers could not be more disheartening. While the barista was polite, making such a request at all was offensive. Ultimately, such treatment has become all too common in 2019."
Well, yes, yeah, it's pretty legitimate because apparently hating the popos is such a woke thing these days.
One of the commenters, sorry, no, one of the cops who was involved with this. Actually, it wasn't one of the cops. It was the president of the police union who said in a phone interview, "quote It's become accepted to not trust or to see police and to think we're not here to serve you." And again, it goes back to, we take great pride in the level of customer service we provide to citizens, and to be looked at as feeling unsafe when you have law enforcement around you is somewhat perplexing to me.
Like I said, the person that thought it was unsafe had either one or two things: they got a warrant, or they got priors.
Either that
Here's
or
the thing.
I see this as PDS.
Yeah, police derangement syndrome.
Yeah. Here's the thing. All right. We all know that there are bad cops out there, and God knows those cops need to be dealt with. Like, there's no arguing that.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest problem we keep having is that it's the case of one representing the whole. Everyone hears about all the few bad cops that are out there, whether it be a single cop or a small squad in a town. You know, we've heard them all. But they see that and they're thinking every cop is like that. And I can tell you from first-hand experience that is not the case. My uncle was a police officer. He was a sheriff's officer down here in my area. Never gave anyone shit like that. Never caused anyone any trouble. Always a nice guy. He's a hard ass. He'll kick your ass something fierce if you fuck with him. But he didn't go out of his way to start shit. All right?
Yeah.
This is why I've always had, and I have several friends who work in the police, and I've had to deal with experiences where I had to go to jail for a night, and my friends went out of their way to make sure I didn't have to stay there any longer than necessary. So I know for a fact, not every cop out there is an asshole. Hell, I've been pulled over by nice cops, so I know they exist.
That's true.
So I don't have that mindset.
Yeah, it's like what they think every fucking cop is part of Rampart Division or something. Jesus.
Yeah, I hate that mentality. I seriously do. No, don't get me wrong. If a cop is being a dick, as has been reported many times over, then yes, train them or get them the fuck out, because we don't need that shit. But that does not mean you have to look at every cop like that. There, you know, that, because otherwise, what that's going to do is it's going to make those few good cops turn into bad cops, because they're going to be like, what's the point of being a nice guy and doing our job properly when you're still going to treat me like shit anyway?
Yeah.
That's how you get death squads.
But the apparently the police officers union has decided to be a little spicy on the matter, because they tweeted a parody of the Starbucks logo with the words "Dump Starbucks" and the image of a hand dumping the contents of a cup of coffee. saying quote, don't appreciate Starbucks asking our Tempe cops to leave your establishment on the 4th of July. Several of these cops are veterans who fought for this country. #0 respect.
Yeah, no respect. I got no respect at all.
Now, of course, Starbucks decided to play damage control, and
of course,
neither the barista nor the customer who complained were identified, and that's probably how it should be.
Of course, they're not going to throw them under the bus, because that's exactly what they believe.
Hey, to be fair, I'm going to play devil's advocate on that, Aaron, and say that if either of them were named, you know, some of the alt-right extremist motherfuckers out there would be gunning for them with freaking pitchforks and torches.
I'd say both sides would be gunning for both, because one side is because of the politic, and the other side is because you made them look bad. Look at all the people trying to defend what happened to Andy No.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I have to wonder if after this they're going to close 6,000 shops again. Oh wait, no they're not. And furthermore, I will always laugh at this kind of story because of the fact that I will always remember the glorious amount of karma I got from the Starbucks that threw me out.
Oh, what happened?
What happened to that Starbucks, Monk?
They are no longer appearing in my city. They got replaced with a tanning booth.
A tanning booth? Nice.
Yes.
Irony.
Yeah, really. You know, like I said, it's a but. Yes. Why would anyone go there to drink overpriced soy swill? That's garbage.
Honestly, the only reason I ever go to Starbucks these days is because they're one of the only places that serves matcha green tea, and I love that shit. But if anyone else, if I can find another place that sells that shit and a cheaper price, I'd get the fuck out of Starbucks in 2 seconds.
Better yet,
go to
the supermarket. They probably sell that shit. You might have to brew it. You're on your own, but you know what?
Yeah, that's the thing. No, I like it a specific way. I like it nice and sweet. And again, not many places make it that way. The only other place that sells matcha green tea that's as a cappuccino or frappuccino is fucking Books A Million and their little Joe Muggs coffee, and that shit tasted nasty.
Oof.
I can safely say, even when a drive-through Starbucks got set up in my area, nobody goes there. They all go to. Well, some people go there, but it's not. But the line isn't as. But the amount of people there isn't as big as Caribou. Everybody.
Let me guess. Yeah, Minnesota. Everyone drinks Caribou, or better yet, they probably just go to the Dunkin' Donuts.
For us in Canada, it's a dogfight between Starbucks and Tim Hortons, and there are more Tim Hortons than Starbucks. Let me tell you something.
Oh yeah, Tim Hortons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of fail, so this is one of those things where this is going to be a bit of a conflicting matter. So let's talk about Nike. For the first time in almost 2 years, I'm talking about Nike. Nike.
Oh shit! Here we go again.
So, like they would do, they were going to put out a special pair of shoes for July 4th that was going to have the original Betsy Ross flag on the back of it. You know, standard fare, what you'd expect from them. But it got pulled down at the last second. Why? Because Colin Kaepernick decided to make a fit.
Drink!
I respected the guy when he kneeled during the anthem, but now you're just getting stupid.
Well, like I said, yeah.
The reason
I saw this shit coming.
He's trying to argue that it carried slavery connotations.
Yeah, you know what? I heard about this story when I watched the last Phil DeFranco, and yes, I know some of you guys don't care for him. I understand that, but
don't give me started.
Even he wasn't a big fan of how this went down because, yeah, seriously. Okay, yes, we get it. It was made during a time when slavery was still very popular, but guess what? The Betsy Ross flag was not a symbol for slavery until racist assholes today started using it as such.
Which, if you're gonna go that route, allow me to retort. If your argument is associated with slavery, then I want you to give up every single dollar bill that has any face of the founding fathers on it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, you're gonna use that argument. I'm gonna hold you to that, motherfucker.
Seriously, and I'll go one step further because here's the thing. Again, they saying, "Oh, well, people nowadays, especially people use it. A lot of racist assholes use it as symbolism for what they believe in. If you're gonna get pissed off about somebody using an old school symbol for a new reason, you might as well just not make any symbolism of any kind because guess what? Anyone will take anything and use it for that purpose. It's the Pepe the Frog syndrome all over again.
Yeah.
Although the other question that I had to ask is, by that kind of logic, should that also mean that if I'm running, say, Colonial Gothic, I shouldn't use the Betsy Ross flag? And for context, Colonial Gothic takes place in the early days, either before or after the Revolutionary War, with a little bit of Gothic horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
It's kind of like the same. I remember seeing the same level of stupid when somebody tried to argue that Civil War reenactments shouldn't be done because of similar reasons, except that's just as stupid.
Yeah.
The whole guilt by association is just one step removed from witch hunt, and we ended up getting a bit of slap fighting where the governor of Arizona and the governor of California, goddamn autoplay, decided that they were going to get into a slap fight on the matter where one of them decided they weren't going to set up jobs in their state, and the other one said that they were. So it's like, okay, now you're reaching tribal lines, and now I don't give a shit. This Nike should have stood their ground, but instead they decided to take a knee.
Once again, the irony.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's be honest here. Yeah, and now this is the part where I talk about this kind of shit here. Have you noted? Now, as we all know, get woke, go broke is a thing. Okay? But after thinking about it, stewing about it for a couple days ago, I started to realize though some of these big companies give a fuck if they go broke now not anymore. Huh? Because it seems like they know this thing is a money loser. They know this shit pisses people off and alienates their customers. So, knowing that, they doubled the fuck down.
Yes.
So the question I ask is this: what is their fucking end game here? Huh? Control?
I had likened their end game to one, not really having an end game in that sense. And 2, I'd likened it to battered spouse syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Because they seem to have the mindset of this will all pay off in the long run, except it never does. It's like the grass is always a lot of times companies get snowed into this idea because they think that if they appeal to that demographic, then that demographic will suddenly become interested in their product.
They never do.
They never do. As Micah had pointed out, they're more interested in the idea of something than actually supporting it and putting shit down. They expect other people to be the one footing the bill.
Yeah.
It's a marketing thing.
And Nike, especially Nike, they have absolutely no business doing this. Why? Guess how their shoes are made.
Yep. Also, let's not forget the fact that they made a public embarrassment out of themselves with the whole shoe thing with Zion during the Final Four.
Oh yeah. At that point, if I was in Zion's shoes, pun intended, you know what? I'd be open to sign with fucking Big Baller Brand at that point.
And lastly, I think Nike has bigger things to worry about than wokeness, like the fact that Kawhi Leonard is really, really pissed at them.
Yeah, he went to New Balance, and now they're making a killing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, gentlemen? I if it was anyone else, I'd say you could go piss up a rope. But guy fucking won the world title for the Toronto Raptors. I'm gonna let him slide for this one, but that's his one freebie.
Cliff notes on that. Nike put out a trademark for the claw logo without telling him.
Oh, that's not good. You know he's gonna sue.
Oh, he's already sued.
Yeah, because
you know what? He can get his freebie back. I can't say I blame him.
Yeah, because now and the thing is, because he won with fucking New Balances, their New Balance is making a killing now.
Yeah.
Yep. And before we get to the unholy trinity, there is the matter that looks like the Charlie's Angels reboot is as shit as I suspected it was going to be. So Aaron, I need the Razor Fist button.
Oh yeah.
Fuck you! I was right! 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 Fuck you! I was right!
So I'm only going to go over this briefly, but they're arguing that women are going to be the audience for this, and the message is to believe women. Which I know. I know what you're setting up, motherfucker. Here's my prediction about what the argument is going to be when this film comes out. And
is this the Me Too the movie?
It is very much sounding like that. But here's what you're going to see. This thing is going to get a critical drubbing, a lot of critics calling it mediocre, and they are going to use the "it's not meant for you, it's meant for women" argument when the thing.
Ghostbusters 2016, here we come once again.
God damn it, Elizabeth Banks! I liked you. Why do I have to hate you now?
God damn it! Does that mean I have to stop watching Press Your Luck now?
Oh, yep. Sadly. Besides, I like the old.
I was liking that show.
I like the older shit better, and I think Whammy was a much better successor to it.
So, but
they had Todd Newton. He's always a good game show host. Moving on. Let's get to roasting Miss Rita Repulsa.
Yep.
But so unfortunately, we do not have the full unholy trinity for our soap opera, but we do have one instance of asshats of Activision.
Yep. Hold on. Let me find it. God damn it. Ah, here we go.
Activision fucking sucks. So, this one is only tangentially related to Activision because it is more specifically related to the gaming industry's nuclear winter.
Oh, God.
Yep.
Tim Pool talked about this shit, but nevertheless, drink!
Yep. Let's talk about Hearthstone. And why taking one up the ass to please the Chinese is not going to work. And in fact, Appleben made a very good point when he said that the Chinese gaming market is becoming self-destructive.
Exactly. You know what? You know what? I keep saying to these people, don't chase the Chinese market. You know what?
Fuck you! I was right! 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 Fuck you! I was right!
Damn right. This is what happens when you chase the Chinese market. You get Chinese censorship.
Now they have been pulling the Spin Doctor hard on this. They've been trying to say that the look and feel of Hearthstone is different from that of Warcraft, which I call bullshit because you're using Warcraft characters, Warcraft classes, Warcraft events, Warcraft spells, and Warcraft running jokes.
Yeah.
And yet Hearthstone is not related has a style different from Warcraft. Are you kidding?
Bullshit!
You put in a Leroy Jenkins card in the thing.
Yeah. I've seen that fucking card.
And so their argument is that they brought everything up to quote unquote standards.
Oh, standards, really? Drink.
Yeah, I know what they're claiming on the matter, and they had done this a bit earlier with censoring Janus card in Hearthstone. But what I get out of this is you're either censoring for one of two reasons: either to kiss the ass of China, or because a lot. And the reason why I consider that is because a lot of the cards that showed blood also got censored. Or you're doing this to kiss the ass of the Woken Dead.
Yeah, it's either the Chinese or the Soylents, which, if you really think about it, they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But even with that, I've come to the realization that part of the reason you're seeing a lot of Chinese companies trying to get footholds outside of the country is because otherwise they can't make any money.
Yeah, they can't make any money, and number two, most of their products are garbage. Even their anyone watch AliRx?
I do.
Well, have you noticed that most of the bootleg shits that Ali has done were mostly Chinese knockoff games?
Yeah.
There's certainly that, and there was also the awkwardness that one of these Chinese knockoffs was being promoted by Soulja Boy.
Oh,
yeah, I haven't
guess
forgotten
who's
about
back?
that.
Back again. Mark is back.
Oh shit!
Tell some friends.
Here we go again.
Oh, what is that big old Mark Soldier Boy up to now, Monk?
He
also drink.
I only bring that up to establish patterns, but I do have to like a comment that Game Fan had put up on Twitch saying, if you want to please the soy, add a card called Wife's Boyfriend Jamal and Wife's Boyfriend Tyrone. But yeah, this whole notion that they did it to go with standards that they don't talk about, and even Mark Kern had taken his time away from navels to roast them over the coals, which by the way, good job getting Robots to do some art for you, Mark. God damn. But now it's time for the one that made me nearly fall off my fucking chair laughing when I first saw this.
Oh shit!
Oh boy!
It is time for EA, egregious assholes.
What did the gang do this time?
The gang fails at PR so hard that they fail at failing. No, that is not a double negative.
Oh my god.
I want to just read this headline word for word. I struggle with the perception that we're just a bunch of bad guys.
Hey, EA, why don't you take a look at your history and realize you guys may not be bad guys, but you sure are a bunch of dumbass assholes.
The gang failed at self-awareness.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Apparently, even would it surprise you at all that at the MCV Awards, which highlights sales and marketing achievements in the UK, EA would rarely ever win, despite finishing the year as the UK's #1 publisher. And this is voted on by industry peers.
Wow!
And when their name was read out,
it's peer review. The awards show.
When even their own industry does not like Australian Mitt Romney.
hell, when their name was read out as a nominee, they'd get booed from the audience.
Rightly so.
You know, that might be a sign if you ever took a minute and thought about that, you dumb bastards.
Yeah.
Here's your sign.
Yep.
Matt Bilby, who, Jesus Christ, look at that face.
Oh,
Oh god, that just screams douchebag.
drink.
God damn it! I'm gonna run out of booze.
Told you.
And of course, the Game Fan had to bring up the a la carte thing. Am I a bad person? Vanishes.
Yeah, that is douchebag face right there.
It goes, 25 years at EA and I still struggle with the external perception that we're just a bunch of bad guys. We love making and playing games. Unfortunately, when we make mistakes on games, the world knows about it because it's of a size and scale.
Bullshit.
And then they tried to bring up the whole EA Originals, which is a decent idea being done by people who have no concept of how to do it right. The only good thing that came out of EA Originals was A Way Out.
Yeah, and because their creator was he was out there.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. Here's the problem with this guy's statement. I read through this. Have you noticed some similarities between his statement and Australian Mitt Romney's statement?
Mr. Is this good for the player?
Yeah, this is milquetoast, full of buzzwords and full of corporate jargon.
It very much is. Well, then again, this is the guy whose job is marketing.
Oh yeah. So that's probably his first language.
And he tries to bring up the whole thing with Origin, ignoring the fact that there were people entertaining the idea that Origin may or may not have adware.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's starting to sound like he's trying to feign ignorance. And that's even worse.
Yeah. It definitely feels like a case of feigning ignorance or worse, outright stupidity. And this especially comes off as even more tone deaf because of that whole hearing that happened in the UK last week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is this about the loot boxes?
I'm saying that one thing leading into another makes for a very tone deaf response.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're not the bad guys, but you keep doing bad guy shit, like trying to nickel and dime gamers
Yeah.
habitually.
Yeah.
And
I take
we have
offense to the
one
fact that
comment
someone
from
called me a
Marty
nickel-and-dime
Green.
gamer, but I know you're not talking about me.
That we have what we have now that I know that they're trying to push the whole EA Originals thing to show that they're not bad guys. Except here's the problem: it's a case of what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you done for me lately?
And hang on, let me. Okay, why is it not showing me all comments when I click on it? But I think the top comment I want to point out. Actually, the top two comments are a case of a tale of two people. First, you have Marty Greenwell saying, "This is why EA will continue to be seen as the bad guys," and then you have David Cornelius saying, "Actually, you know what? I need to do the fop voice for this. You really have to love the comments section, always missing the nuance and plummeting headfirst towards the lowest common denominator." I have no idea why I sounded like.
You know what,
like
Cornelius? There's one thing you need to do right now.
Put your motherfucking head back down.
Seriously, that's twice you've done that.
I don't know why it keeps scrolling up every time I do. If I push that, I don't know.
If you push something towards the bottom of where it's scrolled, it'll have that sort of crosswire. I've had that happen to me a few times. So next time, scroll first, then click.
Yeah. So you know what? Tell you what, Cornelius. One thing you need to do right now. You know what? Before you put your head down, hey Shades, how's your hand?
Oh, God damn it.
Is it? Can you get one more Dave out to this
No,
fuckweed?
I'm blocking the Dave because there's gonna be a bigger target coming up.
Okay, so you know what?
Tell you what,
Cornelius.
The running gag. I'll throw the Dave later.
Yeah. So you know what? Cornelius. There's one thing you really need to do. You're spared for the Dave because we're saving for something big, and their hands starting to hurt. So you know what?
Put your motherfucking head back down. Don't worry, I'll get the Dave out
right.
later, but when the time comes. But oh man, this is a Dave fest tonight.
Yeah.
Yep.
As far as you know, maybe I should set up a T-shirt on Teespring or something that just says "Dave slap everybody."
Yeah, no, if you're making that's going on our books.
Yeah, go.
And I am wearing the shit out of that shirt because that's a Kevin Owens inspired shirt.
Oh, Kevin Owens and the young Bucks.
Oh yeah.
You put it on freaking crypto fashion. Screw that Teespring nonsense. They probably ban that shit.
Oh,
Right.
But with that said, we have a spicy main event, and I have to thank just some guy for pointing this out. Who, if you don't watch his stuff, do that. He makes really great content, and he is yet another person who has graciously informed me about how Kwanzaa is a fucking idiot. But I already knew that.
Yeah.
But seriously, But Kwanzaa's already got me blocked because I said he was trying to be the I said, it seems that you're trying to be the black equivalent to Frank Miller. Well, good for you. You succeeded. It's just that you decided to be post-crazy Frank Miller.
Ouch.
Seriously, reading black is pain.
Oh god.
Absolute. It's like he wants so bad to be a woke version of the X-Men, and it just is. The artwork makes my eyes hurt.
Oh, definitely.
A shameful display.
But it is time for our main event because we're going to be tackling a similar comics-based lolcow. So, Count Hogan, play us in.
this guy already looks like an asshole. And I think, you know something else? I think I've heard Uncle Ethan talk about this shit. So
Uncle Ethan has talked about it. Just some guy has talked about it. I'm pretty sure Rorschach and a few others have talked about it. I wouldn't be surprised if Yellow Flash has talked about this as well. I first found out about this when just some guy had talked about this. But our target tonight is Cena Gracie, the guy who decided to bully Iceman into being gay and then showed that he cannot even write gay characters right.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And here's the thing. He's gay himself.
Oh boy.
He couldn't even write a drag queen right.
Wow.
But he recently parted ways from Marvel Comics and decided that at the end of Pride Month that he was going to throw some shade at his former employer.
Yeah, because of course the excuse is Pride Month. Of course. Thank God that shit's over.
All right, let me try and zoom in on this because the margins are completely fucked because surprise, surprise, this is on his personal Tumblr.
Mm-hmm.
So
Drink for Tumblr.
Yep.
he goes, hello, Dragon. Welcome to the party. He goes, as Pride Month comes to a close, it's time I spoke candidly about my experience at Marvel Comics. Smoke them if you got them, folks. We're going in.
Oh boy.
He goes, to date, I've always been honest about the joy of writing Iceman's journey as an out gay superhero. You were writing it. Yeah, if that's the case, why is it that other gay men hated that run and the fact that it got canceled twice?
Wow.
He got a second chance. How does that happen?
I know for a fact that my LCS was having ridiculous amounts of copies that nobody was fucking buying.
You mean they might as well sell it for fucking kindling.
Yep. He goes, but I've skirted around the challenges that came along with it. This is partially because I prefer to give off an upbeat vibe. Could have fooled me. And there's also a fear that my truth will affect my career. Well, since you published this, I'd say that prophecy was fulfilled. With more corporations patting themselves on the back for profit-led partnerships wherein celebrities take selfies in rainbow apparel. Oh, join the fucking club. I don't like that. Yeah. Nope, I don't like that shit either. I don't like Pride Month. I don't like Black History Month. I don't like Latin American History Month. I don't like Asian History Month. I hate every single iteration of that because it's always pandering shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same old woke bullshit, same old pandering nonsense. And of course, lately, have you noticed this? It's an excuse to engage in some racism. When I say race, and when I say racism, I mean racism. I mean whoever's Pride Month it is making racist statements.
Oh, there's certainly that. But apparently, the reason he decided to get on the soapbox is because Marvel claiming that they're going to debut their first gay character in the upcoming Eternals movie, which is probably going to be mad because Marvel's the MCU has reached that peak and they're not hitting that high for at least 20 years.
Yeah, if it's still around in 20 years.
He goes, there is an urgency to discuss the realities of creating queer pop culture in a hostile or ambivalent environment.
Drake!
Look, here's the thing. Seema, I'm gonna level with you. Nobody cares who you're sleeping with.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
The reason you got so much shit is because your writing was shit. Garbage in, garbage out.
So, Cena, my friend, no one cares.
Yep.
he says, hopefully my takeaways will serve as a guide for people in positions of power to consider while advocating for nuanced and rich representation. Like they're going to read a fucking... like Bob Iger is going to read a fucking Tumblr blog. Are you kidding?
Really?
Are you that dense?
I don't know if Iger's got any functioning brain cells to even do that.
In an ideal world, embracing our stories and empowering us to tell them will yield far more profitable and way less messy results than what I encountered while writing Iceman. Marvel bent over backwards for you, and this is how you treat them.
And you still bombed!
You still bombed. You bombed not once, but twice. Your book couldn't even crack 250 on the Diamond charts as a first issue. And first issues are the ones that sell the most. He goes, it's no surprise that I got the attention of trolls and irate fans for taking on this job. Well, shows where his priorities are. There was already backlash around the manner in which Bobby Drake, a.k.a. Iceman, came out. Yeah, because Jean Grey basically bullied him into admitting it. That was completely tasteless. And Marvel needed to smooth that landing and put a so what in the decision. After a point, I could almost laugh at the people making light of my death, saying that they have cancerous AIDS from my book, or insinuating that I'm capable of sexual assault. Seriously, you're getting mad that people roasted your dumbass story? Well, welcome to the internet.
Yeah.
Shades, you got the Titus button?
Yeah, give me a sec. You want the new one? I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. You must be new here.
That's the one.
Yep.
Also, welcome to the internet. Viewer discretion is advised.
Mm-hmm. And of course, and yet, yes, Game Fan, I am talking about the comic where Iceman was made gay out of nowhere, and the fact that Bendis has a hate boner for Cat Beast. Well, Bendis is a giant pussy, so maybe he didn't like seeing something that reminded him of that fact.
I felt that one, bro.
Marvel reached out and said they noticed threatening behavior on my Twitter account, only after asking me to send proof of all the nasty shit popping up online. An editor called. These conversations always happen over the phone, offering to provide tips and tricks to deal with these cyberbullying. I cut him off. All he was going to do was tell me how to fend for myself. I needed Marvel to stand by me with more work opportunities to show the trolls I was more than a diversity hire. We'll keep you in mind. So in other words, he is butthurt the fact that he was given a diversity hire, and he's mad that he was treated as a diversity hire. Not to mention, you're being given Marvel, and you're being given a long running character in X-Men, and you're asking for more work when your first thing isn't even done, and this is your first outing.
You gotta
First of all,
prove yourself first before you start asking for more.
First of all, as a person with a learning disability, because that's what it's actually officially called, I'm technically a diversity hire. Well, this guy should be fired, but that's another story for. I'm technically a diversity hire.
Yeah.
I don't mind being that. You know what makes the difference between a diversity hire and a good hire? Working your balls off and shutting the fuck up.
Yes.
I remember reading a story years ago where John Romita Jr., when he first got into Marvel, got endless amounts of shit from his colleagues because they thought that he only got the job because of his last name. Then he started actually making comics, and all those people who were giving him shit shut up because he actually turned out to be really fucking good.
Yeah.
He goes, even after a year, the new editor-in-chief said I was talented and needed to be on a book that wasn't the gay character. Well, you had the chance to do that, and you just made another gay character in Shade.
Yeah, you failed.
The only The only assignment he got outside of Iceman was 6 pages long about a version of Wolverine where he had diamond claws. It says fabulous.
Diamond claws? What the fuck?
It was clearly meant to be one of those one what if in jokes. And Ethereal points out social media and use it to promote work for hire projects owned by massive corporations. But when the going gets tough, these dudes get going real quick. You had no bargaining You had absolutely no bargaining power. You have no reason to bitch up a storm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, get going to buy their next throw pillow.
Jesus.
The throat pillow or something else. But he then goes, you may be asking if my Iceman book was any good, or if I'm just being sour grapes over bad work experience. He said,
"That's the latter."
Yeah.
Apparently, from the get-go, his first editor asserted that Iceman would be DOA if it were too gay, while also telling him to prepare for a cancellation anyway, given that most solo X-Men titles don't last beyond a year, which is true because the X-Men is meant to be an ensemble. It's not. It is not.
That's the thing. There's only one character it worked on, and that's Wolverine.
And
of course, you can make an argument. Deadpool is, but Deadpool just joins the X-Men whenever he feels like it. Other times he's working solo.
Yeah. So, and I know somebody else might bring up Cable. That didn't last more than a year. It got canceled. It got canceled and reset up, but it was never that long running. And he goes on that never mind that his work on Iceman had gotten positive press in the New York Times in print. Just because you got positive press doesn't mean shit if you're not moving units, and you weren't.
Yeah, and the New York Times really. Yep. Most of these guys don't even know. Can't even find their way out. Can't even find their ass when it comes to comics.
And he also brings up that it was getting glowing reviews on Amazon. Again, for all those glowing reviews, you still didn't sell.
Yeah. How about sales numbers, buddy?
Yeah, and that Marvel treated me as someone to be contained, and that the book is something to be nervous about. They treated you like they treated you like any other work for hire, especially since you were somebody who had no previous experience and only got in so that they could get some woke points.
Of course.
You were hired and treated like any other employee, and you're bitching that you were not treated like any other employee.
Yep.
Oh,
and
fuck you, dude.
And then things get real juicy. He said, instead of clapping back, I just went and got myself more press from the New York Times. From there, they tightened my leash. Well, of course you did. You went behind their fucking back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah. You know what happens?
That's unprofessional.
Yeah, and that could count as insubordination in some cases.
Yep.
Remember what happened when that one shit in Mad Men decided to pitch the Backbone idea at a bar? What was he told? I believe he was told, I want you to get a box and put your things in it. You picked the wrong day to buy an apartment. Of course, he got hired back because the higher ups told him that his son, his father and his mother were bigger deals that might interfere with their own stick. Because it was a case of the young man knows all the rules, the old man knows all the exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
So this fucker keeps getting employed, has a freaking wide mouth, pulls all this dumb shit, still gets hired. I shut the fuck up. I work my ass off 6 days a fucking week. I get laid off.
Yeah.
What kind of fucking fairness is this bullshit?
You want to know? No. I'll do you one better.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much showed my skills that I'm competent to do graphic design. Guess how many people call me back? 0.
Yeah.
But
this fucking scrub gets like how many chances?
He ended up getting. Let me do a bit of let me check something. I want to see what his the most recent Comic-Con result for Iceman got. Iceman number 4. This was back in December. Only sold 10,000 copies. It was 160th place.
That's sad.
This fucker's still employable.
Actually, he.
Oh my god.
Oh, I got one better. The February Iceman number 6, 989 copies, 419th place.
Jesus Christ! Didn't even crack 4 digits.
Yep.
And you know what? I know why he keeps getting hired. Wokeness. That's why.
And
not the right fucking politics.
I'm a diversity fucking hire.
Yep. But
I would do a better job.
But he tried to argue with Axel Alonso, the EIC, that Iceman was landing with a newer generation of readers who focused more on binge reading than month-to-month periodicals. Press X. If that
the same as Breaking Bad, buddy.
If that was really a thing, then why is the Diamond monthly sales always so important?
Gee, I wonder why.
Never mind the fact that you're not publishing for a trade, and you're not publishing for a binge read. Yeah. You can't use the Netflix argument in your case. That's not how this works. There is, putting that aside, 1, your Iceman run isn't in a trade, and 2, Diamond has a separate category specifically for trade paperbacks. Guess whose name is not on it?
Yeah.
Apparently, to Axel's credit, he was warm on the idea and gave him an extra month, so that's one more chance that he got. But the idea was brushed away. He said the first 2 volumes sold like gangbusters thanks to word of mouth, librarian love, and support from retailers big and small. If that's the case, why could you barely crack 10,000?
Fuck this fucking fucker.
Mm-hmm. When the series returned, no one at Marvel asked me, "What do you think landed with readers?" Nor did they ask the question that Axel did: "What matters to your community?" So when I wrote about what I thought the fans would be into, a story about a man learning to be a better ally in the war against hate, editorial totally missed its value.
Drink! Better ally? What? Motherfucker.
That and he tried to be cute by dragging Sinister into this.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Who honestly deserves better. And then he decides to bring up Shade, so you don't want to be seen as just the gay writer, and yet your story is about Iceman coming out, and then you put in a drag queen mutant called Shade, and you had license to make any kind of character you want. You had license to make an Omega level or anything possible within X-Men's metaverse. And you make another gay character.
Wow.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say he's suffering from Liefeld's disease.
Oh, yeah.
It was called Shade, and then later Darkveil, and the story about Shade and Darkveil is really fucking stupid. He told the editor that Shade would be a big deal for X fans. I cast doubt on that. And asked how we should promote it. He said, leave it up to the reader's interpretation, which probably made him literally shake because that meant that he couldn't dictate how the reader is supposed to react. It says, everyone at Marvel shrugged off 2 years of goodwill and acted like I coordinated behind their backs on an announcement that made headlines. Because you fucking did! Twice!
Yes!
You announced Shade when you didn't... You announced Shade and later Darkveil when you didn't get permission and jumped the gun.
God, he steps on so many fucking toes. How much... Jesus Christ. I'd kill to have his job security.
He goes,
no, I'd kill them. You kidding me? You say that. I'd kill them. Fuck. Yeah, I'm still bitter about getting laid off, but this... Keep going.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep going before you end up going into French mode.
Oh yeah.
I'm fucking about to. I'm not kidding.
He mentioned that that he was inspired by various drag queens.
I got the Class Joe music ready.
And then saying that he didn't coordinate anything. Going on to say, their head publicist can't admit that my quotes were pre-approved from an unreleased interview. Except you still put it out. He then goes to saying there were many shady moves on their end that I'm still having trouble putting into language, but it all aligned with an experience I had in retail where a corrupt manager kept lying and moving the goalpost in order to keep me selling in a department I didn't want to work in. I offered to give Darkveil a proper character bio, and I walked away. You expected them to bend over backwards for you after you threw the company under the bus, thought that you were somehow a bigger deal than you actually were. You were a freelancer working on your first. Here's the thing: when you are working on your first book like that, all eyes are on you because you're basically thrown in and told sink or fucking swim.
Yeah, when they did that. Sorry to interrupt, but when he did that, was it within his first 60 fucking days?
I cannot recall. I think this was right. I think this was right around the time that the shit show came back. Oh, so it very well could be. And then if
so, he's lucky he didn't get fired on the spot because that's a probationary period. Most jobs have that.
Yeah.
And 60 days or 90 days.
90 days.
He ends by trying to. Oh, first off, I want to point out something. He says, "I am aware that it was not a queer person of color who joked to me that it's not a matter of if Marvel fucks you over; it's a matter of when." That came from a cis white male. Why does that part even matter?
So.
And Marvel,
yes, so?
The funny thing is, in the midst of all of this, even with all the wokeness problems that Marvel has, all things considered, I'd say Marvel is the good guy in this situation.
No shit.
This is one of the rare cases where they didn't do anything wrong. Grace decided that he was gonna get too big for his proverbial britches.
I take that back though. Marvel did one thing wrong. They didn't fire this asshole in the first offense.
Yeah,
that's the only thing. That's the only thing that they did wrong. They should have fired him on the fucking spot.
Damn right. I know I would.
Yep.
You do something like that. Yeah, you're gone.
Yeah.
And I can safely say that if somebody once asked me if I was running Marvel, would I have fired him on the spot? Oh yeah, I would have fired him on. I would have fired him on the spot, and I would have made it.
When
public.
I first heard of it, I would have gotten a box, slammed it down in front of him, and told him to get the fuck out of here.
Because here's the thing. When you're going behind their back like that, what you're telling them is that you're in business for yourself more than you're in business for the company that you represent, and you do represent the company, whether you like it or not. You You cannot just go out there like you're an independent creator. You still have obligations. And I want to end this with the fact that apparently one of the first reblogs was from fucking Linkara.
Drink!
Oh God.
Fucking Linkara and his stupid M&M fetishes.
And there was one person called On Comics who it seems that they had something to say on the matter. I'm trying to find that in archive form so I can read it.
Fucking Linkara of all people. I swear to God, if it weren't for his fucking internet show that he had, he'd be no different than Chris Chan.
Let's see. Okay. It looks like I was wrong on that. It was just another case of an apologist. But here's the thing, Seema, I would not be surprised if the only people who are hiring you are the people who make coffee table books. And if you're gonna can you just fuck off and write coffee tables so I don't have to hear from you. Same with Gail Simone.
Fuck Gail Simone.
I liked you at one point, Gail, but lately you have been a complete fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now you're bitching and moaning about how hard it is for. You want to bitch and moan about how hard it is for women in the industry when one, you're one of the highest paid women in the industry, and two, the only reason you got the fucking job was because of a fucking blog post. And Ethereal saying don't forget Mags. I haven't forgotten about Mags.
fuck Mags Visaggio. That dumb bitch.
But I think ultimately this is a classic case of what I see a lot in the comic industry, and why if somebody decides to pirate Marvel or DC Comics, I do not give a shit. I have no sympathy, because
of course
they brought this on themselves by putting out product that nobody wants to legitimately buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they wonder. Yeah, then they get all mad when fucking Uncle Ethan and fucking Umbrella Guy and Rags and all these people all running circles around them sales wise.
Well, do you remember what I said when I reviewed Godbound last year? If you fuck up, somebody is going to take that spot.
Yep.
Exalted fucked up. And then Cine Nomine stepped in and produced Godbound, which is very, very good. The same thing applies here. They kept
just because your brand name is Marvel or DC doesn't make you immune.
Especially when in this particular case. Well, I'll put it like this, and I will put it in your particular wheelhouse, Maddie. Do you remember the story I told you when I quit the WWE Network and switched my subscription over to New Japan World?
I vaguely remembered. I know it's been a while now.
This was that infamous Royal Rumble where The Rock tried to endorse Roman Reigns after he
Oh
won.
yeah, that one.
How could we forget?
You know, I call bullshit on Philly.
Please like this guy.
Yeah.
I was calling bullshit on Philly for fucking up Roman Reigns. I regret doing that now.
Now
They were ahead of the times.
Yep.
Yep.
And while he's gotten more tolerable, that's beside the point. It was at that point that I realized I am not enjoying my time watching these pay-per-views and watching these shows. The camera work keeps giving me a headache. It's way too goddamn long, and other things that I'm preaching to the choir about. But the point is, I said I have a choice in front of me. I can either continue to watch and just continue to be miserable like a dog sitting on a nail.
Yep.
Or I can go elsewhere and find something that's actually going to make me happy and make me enjoy the work without having to talk myself into enjoying the work. Because as I told the Lexman a while back on one of his streams, I should not have to talk myself into having fun. I should either be having fun or I'm not having fun.
Yeah.
When the reason why I try and keep the D&D 5th edition talk to a minimum, even if Wizards of the Coast is my punching bag, is because I know that they're going to continue to fail and continue to be fucking idiots. And I can either continue to focus on that product and be miserable, or I can find alternatives. And I did just that. And I ended up getting a message on one of my old reviews where apparently, because of how I covered 13th Age and Unity, somebody saw that and went out and bought Unity, and they outright said they wouldn't have heard about it if it weren't for me covering it.
So you sold some merch.
I sold some merch, and I did what I had intended to do when I started this channel. The thing is, I have no desire to be the dog sitting on a nail. And when it comes to comic books, just because you have a famous name doesn't mean that you can rely on the whole, oh, they'll buy it anyway. Sure, you might get some people who are going to buy it no matter what. You're going to have, every business is going to have the whales. But you can only rely on the whales so much. It's like trying to rely on casuals. See the Nintendo Wii and how that worked out with the Wii U.
And good thing Nintendo learned from that mistake.
Yep, you cannot rely on a fair weather audience.
And it also helps that Sony and Microsoft kept shooting themselves in the foot.
Well, Napoleon Bonaparte said it best: "Never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake."
Exactly.
But before
we go, I think it's time to laugh at Bob Chipman again.
Oh, we're on.
What the fuck did that fat bastard do now?
We're on Movie Bob Watch.
Yeah.
I'll have to apologize to Scrump later because we're probably going to be stealing his gimmick. Okay, you got a link?
Yep, it's in the council.
All right, I'm going to copy this, put it up on the thing and display it for all the world to see. So give me a sec. So this is coming from Win98 Tech, and oh god, we got a thread. Okay, let's see what we've got. So Windows 98 Tech support saying the fact that Bob Chipman, a man who contributes nothing and is literally a parasite by definition, is now openly sneering at farmers being farmers should be reason enough to why no one should ever listen to him. And fucking losing at I'm an outdoors person when I can be. So let's see what we have. Somebody had pointed out he starts with, so we're going with stupid people are good actually as the battle cry of class first organizing. Then, I mean, I know they kind of sound the same, but I'm reasonably certain that seize the means of production and cell phone aren't the same thing.
Oh, for God's sake.
And then he goes, the problem is our definition of working class is over-centered on societally obsolete white males working obsolete jobs in obsolete regions. There's a whole other vibrant, vital, real working class that is urban, metropolitan, intersectional, and working in. And then Poncho Chief said, so farming is now obsolete? Enjoy your starvation with your useless journalist buddies.
Good God, what a commie.
And then he ends by saying tick-tock and showing what looks like a robot farm, except which shows that he knows nothing about how farming works. And I might be a little bit biased because given my line of work, I have to work indirectly with farmers. But the fact remains. Movie Bob is once again a fucking idiot. Which is
yes.
And I'm probably not going to make Movie Bob watch a thing, but I will never understand why a man that heavy has so much of a hate boner for rural America. Where do you think those potato chips you like so much get made?
Oh, I swear to God, this has got to be one of the dumbest communists I've ever heard of. And I've heard some dumbass communists in my time.
Well, of course you have. You have to put up with Cortez as much as I do.
Yeah, Collectivo Barbie. That's my new name for her, Collectivo Barbie.
I just call her Jean, because they have one thing. They have one thing in common: horse face. And I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna go that's low hanging fruit. Except, well, if it's
commies.
There aren't. Well, I think I've made it perfectly clear. If it exists, I will make fun of it. I only apologize to the things that I haven't made fun of yet. But your turn is coming.
Since we're talking about commies, it's obligatory we send in the helo.
Now, I do have a mixed bag of news. Now, because of what's going to be coming, I will not be doing Monastery gaming this week. It doesn't feel right to do that when I'm going to be going out of town the day after a Tuesday stream. In fact, the morning after at that because of the fact that I have to do a one-stop trip. Because much like I did last year, I am going to MetroCon. So Wednesday through Monday, I am going to be out of town. This means of course no Monastery Live next week.
Yep.
And Ethereal's like, "Can I be a mod? What do I look like? What do I look like? Tug? I can't get like."
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we don't look like.
You know what?
Tug.
Fuck it.
Although
you get a wrench.
Although we love that umbrella guy.
Fine. Fuck it. You get a wrench. So long as you ban people in a New York accent. I kid. But we'll be back with Monastery Live in 2 weeks. I'm probably going to be doing a bit of culling when it comes to the articles. So I don't have 2 weeks. I don't have 2 weeks worth of just going over news like someone did.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Flutter.
Yeah. By the way, because of that, I'm I'm putting a self-imposed moratorium on news postings until next Monday.
No, don't do that. Because even though I'm not going to be doing Monastery Live next week, I'm still going to be keeping an eye on potential pieces.
Okay.
I mean, come on. In 2 weeks, there's bound to be a holy trinity.
Yeah, I'll just post something that's really that I think okay, this cannot be avoided.
And for those watching, of course, if any of you have anything that you might consider sufficiently spicy, do feel free to put it in the quest board on our Discord. And speaking of which, I will need to. Exy has been messaging me that he needs a link. Except there's a link in the description, so not sure why he didn't jump on that unless that link expired again, which it shouldn't have.
Right.
Because let me open this up. And yeah, that link is still valid. So Reed, you got two eyes and one mouth.
Yeah, use it.
And I know some people are wondering why I didn't cover something like the not my aerial, and the reason why is because one, I feel like the whole thing is overblown, where I'm seeing more people being offended at the idea of it than people actually outright saying not my aerial. And Shuan Head pointed out that the furthest back it goes is a fucking sock puppet account. So
wow.
I'm not saying that Disney was involved, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody decided to pull a SoCal hoax. Are there people who might have looked at that and fallen for the bait? Yeah, because it's easy to fall for bait.
The way I look at it was just go look at Eric July's video on that shit.
Yeah, and besides, the movie's gonna end up sucking anyways. Like, I defy anyone to name me a legitimately good, not good in context, not good with an asterisk, legitimately, wholeheartedly good live action remake that Disney has done since they did this experiment.
Yeah, they're let's just put it this way, they're batting zero.
Good luck, bitches. You'll need it.
Fuck the Mulan remake too.
Oh, that's gonna be one more. That's gonna be one more for the trash pile. If you're gonna do a live action version of that, at least have the decency to hire somebody who studied under the Shaw brothers.
Yeah, really.
But anyway, there will be a review coming on Saturday. It's going to be 7th Sea 2nd Edition, which is going to be awkward for me because I have to talk about somebody who I don't exactly have the highest opinion on him. Even though he's a very good designer, he's also a bit of a dick. But at least he actually puts out good games and doesn't suffer from wokeness. So it's not a case of I don't like him because of wokeness. I hate him because he's an asshole with really bad opinions on game balance.
Before we go, this just came. I just looked at Yellow Flash's Twitter. Oh my god, this is a follow up to this shit. Check out the console before we go, man.
Let's see what we got. Oh shit. Apparently an Iron Man gravestone a year ago was all right, but the Spider-Man one isn't.
What?
Apparently,
this just keeps getting better and better.
I think we may have found a recurring story, because now you had my curiosity with this bullshit. Now you have my erection. Don't you mean I know what I said?
Oh god, I was expecting Manny to go on a French rage.
No. This is no. If it was that main event asshole, well, definitely. But this, oh god, Disney, keep fucking up.
3 words. Where's my liquor?
You drank it.
I suppose it's a good thing that we're taking a week off so we can refill the water supply. In fact, that's probably what I'm going to be using for the nickname on this. The water supply is refilled.
Oh boy, we're gonna need a lot of it in a couple weeks.
Anyway.
But with all that said, on behalf of the good brothers here, on behalf of the good brothers who were not able to make it, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody, and fuck the